first important learnings that, and it's not the first time we hear that, né? But what we can see from you today, the career you have, what you have created, is a result of 11 years since you had your first training, né? So things don't happen overnight. That's something that I sometimes observe is that I think we are sometimes too impatient. We think, I did a training last year and today it has to be everything and more for my life, né? But I think it's nice to hear from you that, wow, it took you 11 years to get where you are today. Yeah. So, but how was the beginning then? You you did a training in New York, and then you started teaching afterwards, or how did you start?
Yeah, I remember. So I started teaching, and then I did my training, and then shortly after I was also a nanny. So I always chose jobs that gave me flexibility, and so I've always been a freelancer. I've always been selbstständige, even back in the States, which is actually kind of mind blowing to me because I realized I never had a 9 to 5 job ever, ever. So it never really worked for me. But I think for me, choosing jobs that always gave me flexibility and also doing things that wasn't going to be compromisable. So even I remember when I was a nanny, the moment I would get an offer to teach a yoga class, and I would think, okay, this is what I'm working towards. I would always have that conversation. Like, I would hear these thoughts in my head, like, oh no, but you have this responsibility as a nanny. And I was like, no, but your path, your passion is to teach yoga. So always having those conversations around whatever that passion was. And of course, over time, the passions have shifted and, I'm directing energy towards other things and it starts to, I would say, get a bit elevated. But that's essentially how I started out. And then over time, I peeled back more nanny hours to the point where I was just teaching yoga. And then, other jobs came in. I was, working with essential oils. I also had a legging line where I was doing fashion on the side, but it was more of a passion project. And towards the end of the time in New York, I was in New York for 7 years. I was also managing the teachers basically. So I had like a small role in managing in the studio, but all of this was complementary and also supportive of my energy levels as to what I could create, because running around teaching classes all the time is really draining. So it's also what I tell, the students that do my teacher training. It's like you have to, do what you love, but also start with something where you can pick up like 1 or 2 classes a week. Because also the thing is, yes, I love teaching yoga. I will teach yoga for the rest of my life. It saved my life, but it takes a lot to hold space in this way, especially the more sensitive you become, the more refined your practice becomes. So you have to have these protection methods as well. So I would also say, teaching classes is great for connecting to community and, and sharing what you love, but deepening those offerings with workshops, with retreats, these are other things that I do. So I've been doing retreats for about 8 years. So, I mean, just for perspective. So I think for the first 3 years, I was, teaching and having a little bit of side job, but definitely after 3 years, I wasn't nannying anymore. I was full on yoga in whatever that shape presented itself. Guest teachers and teacher trainings, workshops, retreats, privates, etc.
Yeah, if I'm allowed to translate it a bit into business language, it means to develop different kind of products and not just
Yes.
sell one product, which is a yoga class. But still, it's probably a good product to refine your craft as a yoga teacher. For me, it's in coaching. I work as a coach. Né? I think it's a bit the same that doing one-on-one coaching is exactly what I want to do a lot because it gives me a lot of experience, but it cannot be the only product that I keep on selling. Or maybe it can if I really want to, but it doesn't need to. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And I also coach as well now. It was also something where towards the end, I was like, okay, how do we work more deeper? Or cultivating these one-on-one experiences, when I give yoga private, so weaving in that coaching as well. So, but this comes over time. I don't think people need to do a training and then think, oh, I also need coaching and Reiki and sound. And it's like this all developed over 11 years, of
Mhm.
just learning more and more and more,
Mhm.
and how it
Mhm.
can also complement what it is that you're offering and refining your products and,
Yeah.
niche.
And how do you decide what you are learning more?
I mean, purely what I feel called to
Mhm.
to do.
So
It's
you mean you just follow your interest and your passion?
my yeah, as crazy as it sounds, I follow my passion and my intuition.